Hey there everyone, Michael Zuber, one rental at a time, and I got to tell you, one shirt that I forgot to pack was the swing and a miss shirt. I should be wearing that this morning. I don't know if you guys saw the retail sales numbers, but they were a blockbuster. Expectations were 1.5. I thought we would be sub 0.5 and quite possibly negative, and let alone it came in at 3%. Yes, retail sales were double expectations. The consumer is clearly spending through the recession. These unemployment numbers and layoffs from big tech are quickly being absorbed and all of that. And yeah, Jerome Powell can't be a happy camper this morning. First, earlier this week, CPI came in above expectations, but on trend, right? Still negative, but only slightly. Now we have retail sales double expectations, and last month's numbers were revised higher. So, whoa, sorry. I dropped the microphone. This is what happens. So I'll just hold it. Hopefully that's okay. So again, lots of stuff going on. Jerome Powell cannot be happy. And I really do still think Jerome Powell is to just try to limp to the summer. I think he knows the housing numbers are going to get better. But it's going to be a bumpy ride there. And again, remember, we've been talking about inflation being harder than people expect, and lo and behold, that is turning out to be true. One second, what's going on with the stand here? Hold on. It is windy where I'm doing this, and I'm doing this in one cut. Let's see. There we go. Sorry about that, a little too close. Hopefully the mic stays now. So, all right, we're just going to keep going, because that's what you do when you don't edit videos. All right, so again, retail sales, Jerome Powell getting us to the summer. I think that means we get a quarter point, and I think they talk about a half in March. I now think for the first time that May is looking very likely, which I think is the next meeting, we're going to get a quarter. That gets us to 5%, right? 5 to 5.25. Then we got to see where we're at. Jerome Powell is really hoping that the numbers improve, and if you look at the numbers, we still have 3 months of rather large inflation that will roll off in March, April, and May. So his logic is sound, but man, he could not like this retail sales numbers. On top of that, yesterday I congratulated Cindy, but I did not show the card. So Cindy, your card will be in the mail as soon as I get home. Congratulations on your first deal. Looking a little more in detail under CPI, it's all about housing, right? Again, it's owner's equivalent rent. Shelter makes up 40% of core and 30% of headline. Shelter was up 0.7 month on month, 7.9 year on year. Again, there is hope. There is talk about shelter numbers being lagged. Jerome Powell has hinted, hey, that's the summer, and again, I think that's what he's hoping for. I don't know that he has great confidence in that, but that is certainly what he's hoping for. Jerome Powell says that shelter inflation is a key component of evaluating the path forward on interest rates. I believe that means we're going to get a quarter point each meeting until shelter comes down. So does shelter come down in the summer? Maybe we get 2 more. Does shelter come down in the fall? Maybe we get 3 or 4 more. But I do think it's all about shelter. Don't know if you've checked interest rates lately on mortgages. I just checked yesterday, and this is plus or minus a little bit. They're now back up to 6.62. Seemingly last week or the week before, we ticked below 6. I actually think this is good news, right? When we saw interest rates go sub 6, you and I were hearing from all over the country about first-time home buyers, the entry-level stuff just going nuts. That's not good. We don't have any inventory. The last thing you and I want is housing to get super hot at the low end, which just pushes prices up. We don't want that. We don't want anything to reignite the housing market like that. We need time. Higher interest rates means time, right? We're going to do 4 million transactions, not 6.5, not 5. And if rates got too low, we would just do more transactions, and it would just be a mess. Lance Lambert did a great study on Twitter. He's a great follower. I think it's News Lambert on Twitter. He did a study about inflation. And this is something that you can actually look at my 52-year spreadsheet, or now 53 years. Thank you, John, for doing that. If you go back to 1970s, inflation was over 100%. 1980s, 62%. 1990s, 36%. 2000s, 28%. 2010, 19%. And lo and behold, we are already at 16.2%, two and a little bit into this decade. Right, so we had 5 decades of falling inflation, and we are starting hot. So is this a repeat of the 70s? Some people say the 40s. You and I have been talking about this since we built the spreadsheet 2 years ago. Go get cheap 30-year fixed rate debt, lock it in. This is what the early 70s told us. And now Lance is putting this out there. And again, the whole idea behind this inflation is if you have fixed rate debt, own the asset that produces cash flow, and rent doubles in a decade, you're sitting pretty good with cash flow. So I appreciate that. Where was the inflation? I got some details. Eggs, 70%, which I think is already broke. But yeah, last month up 70%. Butter, 32%. Fuel oil, 27%. Utilities, 26%. And vehicle repair, 23%. Vehicle repair is one you and I should watch. Anything that takes hours or services, this is what Jerome Powell talks about, services X housing, core X housing. It's think about haircuts, mowing your lawn, anything that's labor intensive, selling hours for a service like vehicle repairs. We got to watch that. And if these are up 23%, that's not good for wage inflation because that's going to continue higher. What do I got? Jerome Powell, again, he just needs to get to the summer so the big inflation numbers roll off. The next 3 numbers will roll off and be helpful. Barclays missed top line, missed bottom line on a big U.S. trading blunder. Can you imagine losing $1 billion because of a trading blunder? Ouch. Ford has halted the production of the F-150 Lightning. This is the EV truck that was selling really well. Apparently there's some battery issues in building electric vehicles. Specifically, it is about the battery, so that doesn't make you feel good. Mortgage demand has dropped, as you would expect, right? Rates ticked down to 5.99. Now they're 6.62. Did I say? Yeah, 6.62. Lots of stuff going on there. Airbnb. This is kind of what I thought. So if you're an Airbnb or know any Airbnb short-term rental folks, I'd love to hear from you. Airbnb beat top line, beat bottom line, had a really rosy quarter. But what about the hosts? See, this is the thing about Airbnb. Airbnb really doesn't care about the hosts. Airbnb cares about nights. So Airbnb is excited that, for example, number of available nights doubles. But if their hosts don't make money, they don't care, as long as they get those nights. So again, if you're 80% booked with 100 nights, and then suddenly you have 400 available nights, but you're 120, Airbnb likes it. It's up 50%. The hosts, you're going broke. So again, I think Airbnb's quarter is a sign that, because I'm hearing from all kinds of Airbnb hosts, and nights down, profits down, not looking good. On the housing front, I want to be clear. I do think we are about a month, possibly 2 away from getting negative year-on-year numbers. I believe they will start in March, possibly February, but I think March. If you go back and look at last year, we had a 3 or 4 month stretch where people were offering over 50, 60K over list price. That was not normal. That was not healthy. And we're going to have some negative year-on-year numbers this year. Again, retail sales. This was the biggest gain since January 2022. Again, up. They revised up last month as well. So again, it has to put 50 basis points on the table. I expect the Fed to talk tough and cranky, higher for longer. Inflation is not going to be beat easily, folks. All these people talking about inflation rolling over. Hopefully, we've educated and talked about that enough. You should know by now, 30% of inflation is goods. That stuff is rolled over. We saw that in the CPI number. Next is housing. It's lagged. It's a big wait. It's not going to happen until the summer, best case, and could be the fall. And then there's services. And that's not breaking this year. Just look at the CPI number for, I think it was auto mechanic. What was it? Auto repair. 23%. That's services. That's hours. That's wages. So again, folks, I should have wore a swing in the miss shirt. I didn't bring one. Retail sales, blockbuster numbers, can't make Powell happy. And just in case you're wondering, we are rolling into the city of Jakarta, Indonesia. The other side of the ship, much better view. Jakarta has a wonderful skyline. I decided to do this from my room, so enjoy. And we got a little bit of a sunrise. How about that? That's just for you. Take care. Bye.